So here we have a bonnet from Micra. It's not in the best condition, but it's okay because we're using a simple skinning method that I would like to say that I've developed. Of course, I haven't developed it, but I've used it quite a few times and it works wonders because you don't need to make a mold, you don't need to do anything, you just apply enough release agent and again, easy composites. For this you can use, usually I use chemical release agent, but it's perfect for perfect parts if you have really nice smooth surface. PVA works on everything else because it creates a really thin layer, a water dissolvable layer that makes things not stick and you can wash it off with water. We have to fix a few things here. It's a working workshop. So now we need to fill in a few holes. The holes for water jets, the washer bottle thing, they're best to be filled with aluminum foil tape. Nice and flat, super easy. There's a few dents and I'm going to use wax. Effectively what I'm using this for is almost like a filler. We're just going to not completely eliminate them, but we're going to smooth them over so they're not very deep. And that's it. This thing is ready to be used as a mold. Just apply. I'm still not sure which one I'm going to use, either chemical release or PVA. Yeah, let's get cracking. I've also been asked before, why can't you use both? I mean, chemical release and PVA and wax. Well, for starters, because this prevents this from creating a nice clear film. So this will sort of beat up like you would if you polish your car and put some water on it. So either this or this, never mix them together. Although I have to say that PVA can be used on top of wax, but it's just a lot more prep, but it does pretty much the same thing. So top tip from Rusky. So the PVA has dried out, so it's ready to be laid over. I'm going to use, I don't know if it's a technique or it's just a little trick I've learned. Because we are using this as a plug, the bottom layer, the first layer basically that we put on, doesn't need to be perfect, because usually what you do, you apply resin first and then you apply your dry fabric. That means that you have a layer of resin and then it just makes it nice and shiny, if you will, if you're taking it out of the mold. Because this is going to be our inside layer and later we're going to put another layer of fiber on top, it's not really necessary. So it's a lot easier for shapes like this to put the first fabric dry. That way you can maneuver it the way you like it. You can sort of tape it in places and then you basically pour your resin on top, because the second layer is the important and the beauty layer, and that's the one that needs to soak through. And because the first one is going to be all soaked with the resin, it should be absolutely fine. So yeah, mixing EL2 again, because it's absolutely odorless. You don't need to wear a mask or anything. I have fast and slow hardener. I'm going to use 50-50 of each because I wanted to give me enough working time, and also we're not in a rush. So if it's dry for tomorrow, then it's absolutely fine. I'm going to start with about half a liter, and then most likely I'll have to mix another batch later on. So let's get cracking. So I'm not sure when this battery ran out and whether you've seen everything on the time lapse, but effectively this is your simple skinned front hood, bonnet, or whatever you want to call it, depending on which side of the Atlantic you are at. This one's really simple, single layer of dial-in to give it a little bit more flex, and because it's cheaper. Then I put a few extra in corners, because corners are generally the ones that bend most. This is 450 gram 3x3 standard weave carbon. Such an amazing material to work with. Honestly, before I've tried 650 and that was a bit different, but this one, look at it. The cells are really big, and it's just the appearance is just like, it's, I don't know, I love it. I've never used this 450 before, like I said, 650 and usual standard with 210 grams. But the beauty about using the thicker stuff is because effectively this is 2 layers of carbon in one. So you use less resin and it's quicker because you just put 1 sheet instead of 2. And yeah, let's just give it 15 hours, wait until tomorrow. We'll take it out of the mold, the plug, trim around, and then start reinforcing it. So catch you tomorrow. Back at Gizfab the next day, and the bonnet is dry. So very excited about this one. I reckon it's going to be plenty light and strong, but the looks, I might have mentioned it yesterday, I absolutely love the weave on this 450 gram fiber. I've never used this one before, but the larger weave just makes it a bit more carbon lookish, if you know what I mean. So let's take it off and trim it. All right, I know it's not going to be very representative because Eden wasn't running a full stock bonnet. His was modified and everything, but I want to wait and see what the skin versus a normal bonnet is like. So 12.5 kilos. 12.5 kilos for standard bonnet. This one is not even trimmed yet. I'm not sure. Hey, come on. Camera, follow me. Hey, hi. Ah, stupid thing. All right, guys, you know the score. Comment section, go now. Guess. Done it? 10 kilograms saved. 10 kilograms. It will get a little bit heavier because we need to reinforce it with foam, like I said before, and put extra stuff on the inside. But it will add maybe another 250 grams, if that. So it would still be under 2.5 kilos, which is a massive saving. And for a large body part like that, it's quite noticeable. Now we need to reinforce it. As you can see, well, there's many ways to skin a cat, as the saying goes. What I usually do is definitely introduce a cross, because a cross is a cross, right? You all know that a cross is supposed to reinforce it well. On this bonnet in particular, Eden is going to have air vents. They're identical to the ones that he made for mine. Well, they are the same he made for mine. So they're basically going to be in this rough position. So we're going to have a cross in the center, and then we're going to have each corner with extra 2 layers of carbon, because that's where the bonnet pins go. And also we might introduce another strip of foam on these corners just to create a little bit more anti-flex, so to speak. So it's all marked up. Let's send it, cut the foam and reinforce it.
3 hours later.
What I've done here already is basically a cross with a bit of foam on the inside. Now we need to reinforce it even further. Another few strips on each side, and then each corners where we're gonna have the air catches, they need to be reinforced with extra carbon. Luckily we have a whole box of sort of offcuts, so we can use those. So reinforce this and then cut, and it's basically done. Not sure if you can see it here, but it's all reinforced. The double cross is actually double now because I had a dial in, and then it wasn't hard enough, so we put another 12K just for the cross. A little bit more foam on each side, double 12K on each corner here just because of the air catches. I reckon once it's dry, this is not gonna add too much extra weight. It's already pretty light, and then yeah, it will be nice and solid.
Day 3.
It's dry, and all the reinforcements Perfect. I think I judged them pretty well this time. It's much better than my original first bonnet that I made because I didn't use foam. I basically used multiple layers of thick carbon. I think on the cross on the inside I have 4 layers. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. So that made it a lot heavier. This bonnet is definitely lighter than my bonnet, and look how stiff it is. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So now we need to trim it, and once it's trimmed, it's going back on the Gizfab Micra, and I cannot wait.
Right, so we've got the bonnet marked up to drill the pins. We've just used a bit of RTV, drill them holes as well, and then we'll start to cut out all the teardrops for the catches. So we've got the bonnet back on, we've got it lined up nice, the holes are in the right location, so that's good. The trick we like to use when fitting these aero catches is to just sort of put a bit of masking tape down, poke the eyelet through the bonnet, and then sort of clip it down on the exterior of the bonnet, and then that gives us go around it with a pen, and that gives us a cut line. Right, so that's the rear pins in the bonnet. It's come out really well. So now we've got a sort of datum point, and you know the back part of the bonnet isn't going to move and sort of like destroy our mock-up work at the front. We'll go ahead and put the pins back in the front of the bonnet. We'll do the same trick with a bit of RTV silicone and just sort of like plonk the bonnet down on the silicone, so we've got our blobs, and then we can drill our holes, and then we'll do the exact same process again with that. There we go. So yeah, really happy about it's come out. We've got all 4 bonnet pins in. Again, you know, we're not going for show car looks. It's got a function. It's got to be light. So you know, it's definitely doing that job very, very well. So to take the bonnet off, I know it's pretty simple or pretty obvious. You undo all 4 bonnet pins. This one's a bit sticky. And there we are. Bonnet comes off, and obviously bonnet goes on. Pretty simple. Boom. Boom. So this year we're going to change the style of our bonnet vent. So that's the style we had last year, sort of like one big massive vent. It looks great to begin with. I loved it. The problem is it's just a weak design, and with no support rib down the centre, the amount of times that we've had to re-weld the fins on this last year, well, and this year actually, takes the piss a bit. So I designed these vents for Ilya last year for his Clio, based off some measurements that he gave me. While we had a set laser cut for him, I had a set laser cut for myself. We just never actually got around to fitting these on our Micra. Easy construction. So we've got the outer vent which goes on the bonnet. We've got like a little retainer ring, so the retainer ring goes on the underside of the bonnet, just so it's got something to sandwich in between. And then we have a gurney flap. The gurney flap goes on the leading edge of the vent, and what that does is that as the air passes over it, it causes a vortex, and it actually helps draw the air out of the bonnet. So if you didn't have the gurney flap, what would happen is that the air goes over the vent and actually traps the hot air in the vent rather than draw it out. Very important that you have a gurney flap. Now, I need to fold this, so I'll show you how it goes together when we get that far. But yeah, it worked really well in Ilya's last year, so I'm happy that the design works really well. And obviously all the fins are adjustable. You know, they come sort of like in a flat pattern like that, and then you just sort of bend the fins to your desired angles. Yeah, what we've got to do really for these is dead easy to fit. Find position on the bonnet with our little retainer in here. We're going to draw inside, that's going to be our cut mark. Then it's just a case of drill a series of holes and a load of pop rivets. So yeah, it shouldn't really take too long to do these, but I'm really itching to get these on because it's really going to transform the look of the front of the car. Right, so there we go, that is the front of the car all buttoned up. We've got our bonnet latches in, we've got our vents in, really happy with how it's come out. Just need to do again just a bit of panel trimming just to make the gaps a bit better. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it's come out.